My name's Carmelo, and hello from the most southwestern corner in Australia. Okay, so we've done abalone. Now we're going to do some crayfish. Here in the southwest of Western Australia, we have the awesome opportunity of getting these crays. Now these here, some people think are massive crays, but they're actually not. They're jumbo crayfish, but they're small jumbos. So let's just get into showing how we're going to fillet them. I can't remember if I told you guys before, I do everything on newspaper. I do everything on newspaper because I cannot be bothered cleaning all this stuff up, especially the abalone guts. So let's do this. Okay, so what we have to do is we get our filleting knife in around the body of the cray, and it is as easy as this. Check this out. Bang. It's that easy, okay? So get your filleting knife right in there. And a long flexible knife is the best. If you don't have a long flexible knife, just use whatever knife, but more importantly go in there. Look at that, I haven't even had to really pull that out. Okay, now the next thing you have to do is you have to get a good knife. A chopping knife is the best. It is going to blunt your knife because you're going to go hard up against the shell, and it's as simple. Watch this, hold on to the shell, watch your fingers, and straight through. Bang, straight through. And then you pull it apart. Again, straight through, chop. And if you do your chopping action, you'll actually really go through that shell and then slice through. And then you might have to pull it or break it apart. If you're worried about the newspaper and you're worried about the ink, just get some plastic or something like, a cardboard bag or something like that. Now, what you've got is you've got this horrible intestine thing here. And sometimes it's filled with sand. So you need to take these out and then you need to wash them. And I can actually feel sand on these. Okay, that's it. Run your finger through there. Then this is really important too. I'll bring it to the light so you've got better light there. We'll go back to the table. This is really important too. Pull the meat out of the shell. Because if you don't pull the meat out of the shell, once it's cooked, what's going to happen is it's going to stick to the shell. And you're not going to be able to get the meat out. So I'll see you guys in a second. I'm going to wash these, rip them out of the shell, and then put them on a baking tray and season them. All right? Okay, so we've washed our crayfish. So what we want is we want a baking tray. We've loosened it up. Look, have a good look. We've loosened that up. I keep a little bit at the end so it doesn't fall out. So there we go. So we'll put them on. Make sure they're loosened. Oh, look at that, there's still a bit of guts hanging there. I don't want that. Loosened. Now some people actually pat the crays dry to get all the water off, but I don't do that because there's no need. Alright, so what we want is we want some oil, some salt, some black pepper. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is some garlic, but let me show you something first with the garlic, alright? Now I don't like peeling garlic every day, I like eating garlic every day. So what I do is this, look, I peel my garlic and I put it in a little container, ready to go. I then store it in another container with my garlic press. And I might leave it here up to 3 or 4 days. I might leave it there 3 or 4 days. So here we go. So I'd go into the fridge instead of having to peel garlic and stuff, because I'm lazy. I get my garlic clove that's already ready to go. I put it in my garlic crusher. Now this garlic crusher is a little bit special. I've made this little device because sometimes you can't get all the garlic out. Little bits of plastic. Alright, so I push through. And you might think, oh, that's a heck of a lot of garlic, but I'm going to share that. I'm going to share the love, the garlic love, amongst these two. Get some more. Okay, so once the garlic's on, what we're going to do is we're going to bake these. I love garlic. And it's an amazing antioxidant. It's basically caustic soda for the blood, isn't it? Gets rid of toxins, all the refined garbage that we eat. Okay, here we go. In our oven, I've got it set at 170 degrees, and I'm going to give it roughly about 20 minutes. And this is the joy of the garlic press. In there, lid on. I'll give this a light and put it in the fridge. If you want to eat the horns, same thing as doing the shell. You put your knife in here and cut around and pull this out. You can boil them or you can bake them. The cray legs as well, get your knife in there and then rip them off. Boiling water, anything from 3 to 5 minutes. And then I'm going to let those crayfish cook and we'll see you once they're cooked, okay? I'm going to cheat, I've got gloves on here. Cooking beautifully, that's all you get to see. Now, the horns that we were talking about before. So make sure you wear gloves, even though mine have got holes in it. I'm going to make sure I grab it with that part. These are my cray diving gloves. And you rip that out. Now what I've done is I've not done that properly, so that's good. You'll get to see what happens if you don't do it properly. I left that beautiful bit of flesh in there. Rip that out again. At least that's done properly. And then the legs, if you want to, you can just be a Viking and just rip them off. Or you can get your knife in there and cut around it. But let's just be Vikings. Okay? Why waste all the meat? Oh well, I didn't show you the crayfish coming out of the oven, but here's the crayfish and here's testimony how good they are. Here's the shell. Here's the empty shell. And here's my camera person who has deserted me. She's too busy stuffing her face with crayfish. And there's Jeremy who, long story, comes diving with me. Here's the pot that the crayfish were cooked in. It's just boiling water, about 3 minutes. Here's the actual legs. I've just sieved them. Now to crack those little things, you need a cracker, but I've actually got one of these that I'm reaching for. Look at that. It's a good old-fashioned nut cracker. I'm going to throw in a little bit of this. You don't want the white, hey? It's going to throw in a strip of that. Strip of lemon zest on the top of each one. And then what you do when you do on papillote is, on papillote basically means in paper. This is French. This is very French. On papillotes is you wrap them and then you wrap them.